Aloha, friends and family, and welcome back to the reading of our cosmic origin. Before we continue our true history, let's first refer to our planetary logos, because it is important to understand the lineage of the forces of light a bit more. The history of Lord Sanat Kumara goes back to Sirius, but really to Salvington, the headquarters of our local universe of Nebadon. In fact, Lord Sanat Kumara is dispatching descending high son of light, Melchizedek, serving in the order of the Ancient of Days of the super universe governments. He works directly under the guidance of Lord Michael, the creator son of our local universe. While Lord Michael is also considered our universal logos and head of the cosmic order of Melchizedek for the 12 major creations, the last major universe, Sanat Kumara, in his representative on a planetary level, and heads the planetary order of Melchizedek, or what is known as the planetary spiritual hierarchy for the 6th dimension down to the 3rd, since it is materializing in our times. So when the great plan was set up to restore our local universe, various high sons and daughters of light volunteered to aid Lord Michael in the restoration of our local universe. Lord Sanat Kumara was one of them, and has been aiding the great divine plan before the foundation of this world or its ancient civilizations. He assisted Lord Michael the moment the fallen angels, celestial, planted their seed in our galaxy. And since Orion was the first constellation in our galaxy that was exploited by the fallen ones, his mission had to begin there. From the great beginning, it was decided by the cosmic order of Melchizedek in conjunction with the order of the Ancient of Days that the forces of light infiltrate the forces of darkness from the beginning of the split in heaven. Lord Sanat Kumara, fulfilling his part in the infiltration process, had willingly incarnated in Orion as one of the Dracos, but really working for the light. That sounds strange. However, it needed to happen in order to work the dark side from within, so that the forces of light may always be steps ahead of the dark ones. First, Lord Sanat Kumara was the first of the incarnated Melchizedeks to demonstrate ascension in Orion and amid opposition. He was born directly into the royal house of Aln, although his mother was from the royal house of Ananda, the line that came to Orion from Sirius A after the First Galactic War in Lyra. The line of Ananda was the merging lines of both the house of Avion and the house of Aln. In Avion, Lyra, before the First Galactic War. As the story goes, after enslaving the Orion humanoids, his powerful father, a draconian reptilian general, had a child with the descendant of the pure line of Ananda, and so he was born. His mother was an Orion celestial / humanoid, and a direct descendant from the house of Ananda. Sanat Kumara, therefore, was the first being to integrate all chakras, thus giving him the capacity of the complete power of the Force. This allowed Lord Kumara to achieve ascension by the integration of spirit and matter, thus giving him full access to the power of the great central sun. Since then, all descendants of his line carried in their life Sun, S-U-N, which is the highest vibrating substance in our galaxy. And the page cut off weird, or the paragraph did, so that's the highest vibrating substance in our galaxy stream. The power of the universal life force, by integrating higher and lower spheres, they had the choice to either use the full force, unified energy field for either good or bad. Throughout galactic history, those of this line were considered the most powerful beings in our galaxy and were sought after by both the Dracos and the humanoids of the Galactic Federation of Light. In support of this, it is confirmed in the secret doctrine that after connecting the higher chakras with the lower chakras, a vertical line of energy force would align along the vertebrae in which the uninterrupted full power of the universal life force Kundalini energy rushes upward through the individual spine, giving him or her full access to the unlimited power of the great central. However, as confirmed in the secret knowledge that the power derived from activating the Kundalini energy could only happen if the higher and lower chakras are fully integrated and properly aligned. For without the integration of the higher and lower chakras, there is no antakarana, or vertical light cord that aligns all our chakras, integrating both the higher dimensions, heaven, and the lower ones, earth. By integrating, this allows the individual to become a clear channel of unlimited power for the higher forces. This reservoir of infinite energy power potential is what in science is known as the 0-point energy field, which is equivalent to the unified field that resonates at the center of all galactic systems. So, from the beginning of his early days in Orion, Sanat Kumara rebelled against draconian protocol. He became an outcast that was both hated and feared by the Supreme Draco leaders because of his power. And even though the superior Dracos, 6th, S-I-X-T-H, did everything in their power to convert or seduce him to serve the Dark Lords, he remained loyal to Lord Michael. Initially, Lord Kumara was embodied as a fearsome dragon warrior until the time came for the Order of Melchizedek and the descending celestial/humanoids from Lyra and Sirius to begin the restoration process of Orion. If we recall, after the hybrid Lyran humanoids' arrival in Orion, they immediately were forced into slavery. So after a couple of 100 years of slavery, it was Sanat Kumara that rose as a fearless leader, like Moses in the Bible, and helped organize the Orion Black League, creating the rebel resistance in Orion. That was around the time of his ascension, and as a result, he inherited his perfected Adama Cadman body, celestial humanoid, just in time to establish the Confederation of Free Worlds in Orion 4.5 million years ago, Earth time. After his mission was fulfilled in Orion, Sanat Kumara and for the very reasons that this cosmic drama has its finale here on our planet, was dispatched to Venus to aid our solar logos, Helios and Vesta, in bringing the light of the great central sun to our neck of the woods. It is also equally important to understand that in the energy body of our solar being, Helios and Vesta, Venus represents the love center or feminine aspect of our solar being, while Mars represents its mind center or masculine. Since the Earth is in between, it is supposed to be the synthesis and balance of them both, again displaying polarity integration for the entire universe. The plan that led to establishing the Planetary Spiritual Council was brought about when the Galactic Federation and the galactic and solar spiritual hierarchies decided that our Earth needed a spiritual guiding council other than Nibiru, who only came into our vicinity every 3,600 years. As a result, our Planetary Spiritual Body Council was born under the direction of Sanat Kumara, who the Lord of Venus and representative of Michael for our solar system was. Apparently, after Venus ascended into the fifth dimension, Sanat Kumara and two other Kumaras, those of the Ananda line, were chosen to restore the light of the higher realms back to Earth, since the first great colony was known as Mu was destroyed. Since then, these three Kumaras have been heading our planet's spiritual council from the higher dimensions. Another Melchizedek and intimate brother of Sanat Kumara is Commander Ishtar and Perez, or Ashtar, of the Ashtar Command. Ishtar and Taurus came to us from our sister galaxy Andromeda and was instrumental in the organization of the Federation of Planets in our galaxy in response to the Seal of Paladar. He has served as one of the first commanders ever since, and today, in our current times, is head commander of the Federation of Planets here in our solar system, operating from the Council of Saturn. He also served the cosmic divine plan by helping other local universes and galaxies ascend before our galaxy. Today he is known as the Grand Commander of the Airborne Division of the Great White Brotherhood/Sisterhood and works directly under the orders of Michael, aka Lord Jesus Christ, Sananda. Overall, it was Sanat Kumara who established and built the great civilizations of Lemuria with the support of the Confederation of Free Worlds 1.5 million years ago. Sanat Kumara was head of the Lemurian colony, and Earth and the other planets in our solar system were now free from the reptilian forces during the times of the third seeding. However, this wasn't the end of the conflict. It turns out that when the Earth was still Tiamat, a few surviving reptilians that sided with the humans later proved to be untrustworthy. To make matters worse, one of them happened to be a direct descendant of the House of Ald. This was the reptilian queen Dramian, who sided with the humans during the Tiamat-Earth conflict. So in an attempt to establish peace and harmony among the remnant reptilians, Commander Anu of the Numerian battle star decided that in order to maintain peace on the new Earth, an alliance needed to take place between the Syrian, Pleiadian, descending celestial humanoids of Nibiru and the surviving reptilians that allegedly had a conversion to the light. The alliance was crucial because it required a trust between the royal house of Avion through Anu and the house of Alm through Dramion, a direct descendant of the Draco house of Alm. Anu, to integrate both groups, came with a solution, which was to marry Dramion in order to maintain peace on Nibiru as well as on the new earth that was beginning to blossom again. Meanwhile, back on Earth, a few Pleiadian beings had already begun the third wave of recolonization. This was the period of about 1 million years ago. We had not only Lemuria, which became the motherland of the New Earth development, thanks to Lord Sunat Kamara, our planetary logos, who worked in unison and in balance with the great mother goddess represented by the womb of the earth, Gaia. During the second seeding, other colonies were also established by the descending celestial humanoids in different parts of the globe. We had the Yu colony in Asia, Yu, the land of Rama in the India region, the Mayan colony in the Yucatan area, which was seeded by the Pleiades second star system known as Maya. The developing Atlantis was glooming thanks to Atlas, a Pleiadian grandson of Anu, in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. I think that's supposed to be booming. The developing Atlantis was booming thanks to Atlas, a Pleiadian grandson of Anu in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. With the rise of these advanced prehistoric cultures, our Earth and its solar system were once again galactic in nature, being a full-fledged member of the Confederation of Free Worlds and maintaining a harmonious stellar civilization on our planet for the next 500,000 years. As in Mu and Lemuria, starships would come and go to and from the planet as the Earth was beginning to once again become an exchange zone for galactic commerce, as planned by the higher-ups, as some would term the original founders of our local galaxy. At this point, everything was running smoothly. The marriage of Anu to Dramion gave the Nibirians Inki, who in our mythology was known as the Earth Builder, Ea. He was half Pleiadian, descending celestial/humanoid, and half draconian reptilian. Some believe he was another attempt to synthesize both groups, but overall, as we shall see, Inki, as well as his half-brother Enlil, became extremely influential in the course that our planet took thereon, as they usurped absolute control of our planet from the Galactic Federation and the rest of our cosmos. As the story goes, these two brothers quarrel for control of the planet. After a while, a bitter tension between the two half-brothers, and since Commander Anu assumed absolute responsibility for the Earth, divided the Earth into sections. Inki was given Africa, the Absu region, as well as the Atlantean Ocean region corresponding to the ancient Greek god Poseidon, who ruled Atlantis according to Plato. Enlil was given the Mesopotamia region, including Europe, corresponding to the ancient god El of early Israel. Eventually, the rest of the planet became divided up by the Nibirians and their offspring as the story of the ancient gods, celestial humanoids, unfold. According to Zechariah Sitchin, a cultural linguistic scholar and primary translator of the Sumerian clay tablets, revealed that Enlil was against the spiritual development of the evolving Homo erectus ascending animal / human / mammals and restoring them back into full conscious celestial / humanoids. On the contrary, Enki was allegedly their benefactor and one who worked for their restoration, as translated from the Sumerian tablets. Now, according to the restored Nibirian Council, the story begins to sound slightly different, as the Sumerians' tablets could have been tampered with. The restored Nibirian Council confirmed that Enlil was never opposed to his brother's plans of helping evolve the Homo erectus into Homo sapiens sapiens, that he himself biogenetically engineered by admixing DNA from themselves, celestials, and the evolving Homo erectus terrestrials, that were a product of natural, progressive, and intelligently directed organic biological evolution. Truth is, Enlil believed in a gradual evolution, while Enki preferred a rather quicker one, which was one of the many reasons these brothers clashed. The restored Nibirian Council is more reliable, since the ancient Sumerian tablets were edited by the high priest of Marduk in Babylon. And as we will come to know, Marduk became the chief fallen celestial draconian angel leader of the forces of darkness in our world. At this point, let me remind us that we are spiritual beings encased in an organic vehicle made from the natural clay of the earth. Therefore, the missing link from Homo erectus to Homo sapiens only provided a vehicle for us spirit beings, descending celestials, to begin the incarnational process of whole light beings in third-dimensional upright physical bodies, to finalize polarity, integration of spirit and matter. This tells us that the ancient astronaut theory, as well as the risen knowledge in the Sumerian records, is correct, uniting both sides of the spectrum. However, in favor of creation by intelligent design and not evolution by random change. Also, it is important to understand that the Bible was a consolidation of all this ancient knowledge in condensed symbolic form in the first 5 books known as the Torah. For example, in its not symbolic form, all records attest to the fact that Enki becomes instrumental in the dissemination of the higher knowledge, or as some would say, the knowledge of the Nibirian gods. Many scholars are beginning to believe that this was metaphorically camouflaged as the apple incident in the Bible. From a higher perspective, Enlil saw that offering this type of advanced knowledge to beings of low intelligence that were not ready for advanced technological evolution was like trying to offer a dynamite stick and a lighter to a 5-year-old child to play with. As a result of this, Enlil believed that the evolving Homo sapiens were to take a gradual growth for their spirituality to mature before discovering advanced technologies regarding the use of powerful energies. Enlil believed that the Homo sapiens that were biogenetically engineered from the Homo erectus with not enough spiritual growth or evolution would destroy themselves with advanced technical knowledge. which proved to be correct in the later days of Atlantis, as we shall see. In fact, based on these early galactic family feuds, we can now trace all of our current world problems to the never-ending battle that took place hundreds of thousands of years ago by these two half-brothers and their descendants. For the record, these beings were our ancestors and biological uplifters that bridged the gap between descending celestial intelligence and ascending physical organic intelligence. These gods were the ancient celestial humanoids with 12 strands of DNA that came mainly from the Pleiades, Orion, Lyra Sirius, and Alpha Centaurus, and some carried the line of the Draco lineage, which was the line of Aln/Lucifer. According to the Urantia material, these celestial/humanoids, not gods, are the descending sons and daughters of light that originated in the central universe of the eternal spheres of Havona. Urantia refers to them as citizens of the Jerusalem system of a population 2 status that dispatched the descending supermen and superwomen of the Caligastia 100 corporeal staff. I'm going to reread that. Urantia refers to them as citizens of the Jerusalem system of a population 2 status that dispatched the descending supermen and superwomen of the Caligastia 100 corporeal staff. For the record, other than the descending celestial intelligence that from heaven to earth came, we also have the evolving Homo sapiens who were the Etherian Syrians, and the not so evolving Homo primitives, who ceased to exist about 30,000 years ago, according to the fossil record, as only the strain of Homo sapiens continued. Again, this group known as Homo sapiens was the ascending primates, which were evolving the small percentage of Syrian souls that got trapped in the mammal reincarnation cycle during the days of Tiamat 3 million years ago. It was this strain of ascending spirit beings that became the evolving line of the primates that later, suddenly, overnight, became Cro-Magnon man. And as the Nibirians continued to add their superior DNA, eventually Cro-Magnon man evolved into the mankind of today, Homo sapiens. This truth provides evidence of the sudden leaps or missing links in our incomplete theory of evolution, indicating that mankind today is the final product of something bigger than just evolution from the bottom up, but rather a middle point was involution, descent of spirit into matter, from the top down meets intelligently engineered evolution from the bottom up, thus providing further proof of creation by intelligent design. It appears that the gods, or celestial humanoids of the ancient times, were important key players in the completion of the grand divine masterpiece known as modern-day mankind. According to all records, Enki became the one to bridge this process into fulfillment, although eventually Enlil also began to contribute his life plasma, as he also became a benevolent protector of the evolving, ascending Homo sapiens, especially those that came from his strain, carrying a heavy concentration of fifth-dimensional Pleiadian, Sirian, and Lyran life plasma. However, according to the Urantia material, the life plasma of the violet race, the descending fifth-dimensional Pleiadians, failed to spread to all of evolving ascending man, causing the fall of advanced civilization and culture in our planet, as evolving mankind was mostly dominated by their lower animal self. According to all records, the Nibirians came for our planet's gold supply. The question is, why was Nibiru in need of such large quantities of gold from the Earth? Again, the answer lies in our suppressed galactic history. As confirmed by the Nibirian Council, and as revealed earlier, Nibiru was losing its atmosphere upon arrival about 450,000 years ago due to the destruction of the planet Maldek. As recalled, this was the planet the Dracos inhabited in our solar system before they launched their attack on Mu, the first stellar human colony during the first seeding. This piece of information about the cause and tear in Nibiru's atmosphere has not yet been confirmed by Stitchin, but since it comes from a higher source, Anu, then it is more reliable than the Sumerian tablets. As the real story goes, the Battlestar planet Nibiru had become damaged with radiation the moment they blew up the planet Maldek. It turns out that Maldek was a planet full of nuclear weapons, and in blowing the planet up, it emitted dangerous radiation that eventually reached Nibiru's atmosphere and damaged it, causing a leak. Without repair, and after almost 1.5 million years, eventually the inhabitants of Nibiru would decrease in lifespan. So a plan was created by the Nibirians to find the element that they needed in order to save their planet. That element was gold, and the hot source for it was our planet Earth. The information regarding the coming of the Anunnaki to our world for gold is well understood by our world scholars now, and it has been confirmed to be true by the translated Sumerian records. At this point, it is important to understand that the Anunnaki of Nibiru were the same beings that our Bible refers to as the Watchers, as revealed in the book of Enoch, and other biblical terms used was the Elohim, as revealed in the book of Genesis. In the Bible, particularly in the left-out books of Enoch, Jubilee, and others, and as confirmed in Genesis, the Nibirians were recorded as the sons of God, Elohim, plural for the many celestial beings who descended upon the earth in those days for many reasons. First, of course, as confirmed by the Sumerian records, was to extract the gold they needed to save their planet. Second, and perhaps more importantly, as we shall see later, they came to also mate with the daughters of evolving ascending men in order to upgrade the genetics of the indigenous evolving earth race in preparation for spiritual evolution in order to integrate heaven and earth, spirit and matter. In truth, these Anunnakis, Elohim, or Watchers, whatever you would like to call them, who appeared humanoid in all ancient accounts, were our ancient, original, angelic elder brothers and sisters, and apparently our parent race, since we were made in their image and inherited their life plasma genetics, as revealed in the book of Genesis. Let's go down and make man in our image. More references to the existing immortal humans are also confirmed in the Egyptian translations describing the same beings that came from Nibiru or heaven to earth. Also, in India, according to their ancient manuscripts known as the Rig Vedas, there is a reference to an ancient group or race of superhumans that intermingled with the early primitive evolving humans of our world. China had its versions as well in their ancient text. In ancient times, the Chinese taught the people that a god, half man and half fish, brought them civilization from the sea. For the sake of no confusion, let's call these ancient celestial beings Nibirians. Now, the plan to genetically modify a group of beings, us, higher than the humanoids, primate, and lower than the descending celestial humanoids, gods, came about as a two-way resolution, as we shall see. As mentioned, the first reasons were that the Nibirians nevertheless needed to extract gold from the interior of our Earth in order to save their planet's atmosphere, as revealed by both Anu and Sitchin. According to all accounts, Anu sends Enki and his best astronauts to mine the gold in Africa. As the story goes, these ancient astronauts eventually couldn't take the heat inside the Earth, so they couldn't take the heat inside the Earth, so they mutinied, and when Enlil arrived, they held him hostage until Enki arrived to release him. Enlil, enraged, demanded that his brother Enki receive punishment, believing that it was Enki who conspired to have him captured. This very incident is what caused a sudden change or jump in the natural evolutionary ascent of evolving primates. This is the first and primary missing link that Darwin himself could not figure out. Not to mention, this was the beginning of the defining point that demarcated the end of nature, but yet intelligently directed evolution between the old evolving hominid primates that evolved out of a mammalian strain of 500,000 years ago and the humans that exist today, who were a product of divine intervention and genetic upgrade manipulation that came into the picture roughly around 30,000 years ago. According to natural evolution, what took place overnight in the jump of humanoid primitive man to Homo sapiens sapiens, or thinking man, has scientists' heads spinning. From a higher perspective, this biogenetic upgrade of evolving hominids was a two-way plan that would help in the restoration of the Nibirian atmosphere, as the descending celestial humanoids needed a worker group of semi-intelligent people to mine the hot interiors of our Earth. If we recall, the Anunnaki astronauts were a group of fifth and fourth density stellar humanoids of a population 2 of space-age civilization that hated to toil and work like any other being would. Most importantly, this upgrade would also provide a series of progressive vehicles for the gradual restoration of the stuck Syrians who needed to evolve back into full functioning celestial humanoids. Again, bear in mind that everything happens for a reason. Therefore, this plan was created and approved by both the Celestial Hierarchy and the Galactic Federation of Free Worlds in conjunction with the Nibirian Command. The idea of creating a worker race of primitive beings was brought forth by Enki to the Nibirian Council as a solution to both dilemmas, and it was approved. Not to mention, this would allow for the eventual incarnation of the descending celestial humanoids, star people of the violet DNA, into third-dimensional vehicles so that polarity integration would finally be a success in this final third Earth grand experiment, as planned by the founders of our galaxy, who have been overseeing the whole process from a population 3 galactic system civilization existing at the center of our galaxy. According to all records, it was Inky and his half-sister Ninhursal, or Nima, the medical officer of the Nibirian command, who became in charge of the Homo erectus upgrades. Both ancient Sumerian translations and restored Nibirian records reveal that Inky was a master geneticist and maverick scientist, and his half-sister Nima was proficient in all the medical arts. In fact, it appeared that they were both tutored by her mother, a greater sixth-dimensional being, a feline from Sirius A. So, from the highest levels, it was obviously necessary to jumpstart the evolution of the mammalian primates so that they may evolve back into full-functioning celestial humanoids by the end of what is known as the Great Cycle, 2017 to 2023 AD. The first two upgrades were conducted at Sharapuk, the medical center of the Nibirians, which was one of their various Earth settlements next to Nippur, Bad Tabara, and Eridu, all located in the region we know as Mesopotamia. At first, and as revealed by all accounts, the Nibirians biogenetically engineered a new species in their laboratory using test tubes. Then, as the time went on, they were upgraded to reproduce by themselves, and finally, the third missing link upgrade came about when the Anunnaki themselves came down from Nibiru to mate with the more advanced of the evolving Earth humans, which were those that carried the highest percentage of Nibirian life plasma. The interbreeding between the sons of God, Nibirians, and the daughters of men, Earth, produced the heroes of old as revealed in the biblical book of Genesis and as confirmed in the excavated ancient Sumerian tablets. In mythology, they were known as the demigods, or as we would now refer to as fourth-dimensional conscious humans in third-dimensional vehicles. These heroes of old existed during the times of Atlantis, as recorded in all ancient accounts. According to the secret doctrine, the Elohim, or the supposed ancient mythological gods, were full conscious humanoids or descending spirit beings, while those passing as the daughters of men were the upgraded, evolving earth humans who were evolving a vehicle for the descending spirit beings, the Pleiadian Nibirians, to finally incarnate into third-dimensional vehicles to complete the long descending process of involution, which is the descent of spirit into organic matter to then transform the organic matter into a spiritual matter. Also, the difference between the upgraded Earth-based primitives, which later evolve into Homo sapiens sapiens, and the rest of the primates, was that after about the third vehicle upgrade, the new evolving Homo sapiens sapiens were now capable of downloading their light body and becoming like their descending celestial humanoid parents. However, they were programmed to only use 10% or less of their light body capacity, which is equivalent to today's 90% of our untapped genetic material. And that is why the Homo sapiens sapiens of today are sleeping giants, only functioning at less than 10% of their full divine celestial capacity, explaining the so-called junk DNA our scientists have discovered. Nevertheless, after the upgrades, things were originally peaceful for all the inhabitants of all colonies about 300,000 years ago. The descending celestial humanoids, our ancestors, appeared to live forever since they were in full use of their light body, complete DNA material. As for the evolving Homo sapiens sapiens, their lifespan was about a few hundred years since they were only using less than 10% of their light body DNA. For the record, in our advanced past, after the extinction of the entire humanoid primitive strains, there existed 3 types of races: the evolving Cro-Magnon, who were the ascending earth humans, and the Nibirians, descending celestial humanoids. And out of this intermixing, a 3rd human was produced, known as the demigod, half earth human, half descending Nibirian Pleiadian. This was a coexistence of 5th, 4th, and 3rd dimensional humanoids. This apparently had to do with the connection of the 3rd, 4th, and 5th dimensions through the functioning cosmic current that was produced by the operating grid system, or as the Urantia material refers to as the life circuits, which connected the higher realms of heaven with earth. However, the cosmic current was later shut off as the Earth's grid system became deactivated when Atlantis collapsed. In fact, our biblical Noah, who happened to be one of Enlil's biological sons, not Enki's, was a demigod who lived for almost 1,000 years, as apparently did Gilgamesh. Now, according to the Bible, about 10% of all humans today came from the line of Noah, Now, according to the Bible, about 10% of all humans today come from the line of Noah, Zisudra, Anapushtim. Noah, Zizustra, and Anapushtim. That tells us that all humans that descendants of a demigod, Noah, are those of an Rh negative blood type. Those that are Rh positive blood type could be the descendants of the evolving Earth Cro-Magnon that came from the primitive Earth stock. For it is written in all ancient accounts that the superior celestial humanoids fathered various children that were born to the evolving female humans. In all due respect, this was supposed to happen in order to continue the vehicle upgrades of those Syrian souls that were trapped in the lower animal bodies during the times of Tiamat/Earth. It also becomes evident that Enlil and Enki weren't the only descending celestial humanoids that mated with the evolving Earth humans. These gods, or rather these celestial humanoids, had not only other relatives involved in the project, but other extraterrestrial factions that were not in alignment with the Galactic Federation and the office of the Christ of the Great Blue Lodge of Sirius, the Seal of Paladar, and therefore began conducting their own genetic experiments. Some records have revealed that a small group of Anunnaki Nibirians was not only biogenetically altering the evolving race's DNA, but in the process created some half-beast, half-human species that were not part of the original divine plan. This type of tampering with advanced genetic altercations involving Earth-based human DNA was conducted by these other ET factions, fallen angels, who contributed strongly to the eventual decline and disintegration of the Atlantean Golden Age. In fact, right before the fall of Atlantis, the evolving humans and those heroes of old, demigods, half god and half human, that gave us Hercules, becomes famous for their battles against the different types of monsters that emerged as a result of the uncontrolled genetic tampering. For the most part, Atlantis was supposed to be a marvelous civilization that was meant to integrate spirit and matter, spirituality and technology, Venus and Mars. However, they polarized toward the technological side at the expense of spirituality. When the dracons of the, and then it stops. I'll read that last part again. For the most part, Atlantis was supposed to be a marvelous civilization that was meant to integrate spirit and matter, spirituality and technology, Venus and Mars. However, they polarized toward the technological side at the expense of spirituality. And we'll just stop it there and leave off when the Dracos of the, because it's obviously messed up. Anyway, that's that, folks. That's the completion of chapter 10. When we pick it back up, we'll pick it up at chapter 11. The fall of Atlantis was the fall of man. And this is getting pretty interesting in my book. Hope you're enjoying. Remember to relax. Remember to integrate. And we leave you in the love, the unity, and the light of the infinite Creator. Until next time, my beautiful friends and family.